So in this video I'm going to explain how we caught this 9% trade in just 2 days in the signal group. I'm going to explain everything step by step, why did I buy there, why my stop loss was there. This is going to be a very raw video, taking you through the very basics all the way to the very advanced stuff. So yeah, leave a like if you're new to the channel, subscribe, and let's get started. So on the very first time frame that I'm gonna jump on is a daily time frame. Always good to start your analysis on the high time frame and then, you know, go down to the low time frame. So what we had here is a break of structure. Why is this considered a break of structure? Because we broke to the upside from this level and this became the new high. We're supposed to have a higher low here to price to continue going higher to take this area out. But as you can see, instead price went and it closed below this area. You can even say this area was the break of structure, like once it came down here. It's really up to you how you interpret the structure. So we know that once we came down here, we expecting price to go back up, like do like a retracement, and it did the retracement. It came to this supply zone, which is also a nice order block, and it's supposed to hold this level to go further down to take out this lower here. Okay, so this was very important. And then I jump onto the 4 hours, and this is where all of the magic happens. At the same time, while price was at this area, I was looking what retail is doing, and the way I do this, I use the Myfxbook, the retail sentiment. Don't depend on this 100%, but you can use this as a confluence in addition to your other stuff. Okay, so at the time it was very similar to how it is right now, which was 90% of the retail traders, based on the data that this company has, they were trying to sell this pair, and only 10% was long. So I was looking for a buy, but still it wasn't confirmed. Now when price came to this area, okay, I looked at what the 4 hour structure is telling me. So we made a low here, price went up here, and it generated this liquidity area, which was relative highs. Okay, so I expected price to come at some point, take this out, also fill the imbalance, tap into that daily supply zone, and then go further down. What happened is, before price came to the area which was here, the daily supply, it created this area. This area is very important. This is basically inducement. It's basically inducing the really early sellers that are not patient, and then, you know, as you can see, it went up, took them all out. Okay, other thing to pay attention to is when price made this low, it came here very close to it, but it didn't really break that low. That low was respected. Okay, and then we went up, we created the inducement, cleared the imbalance, and still we haven't touched the daily area, which was very important for price to touch before it had a reaction. So once it broke above this area, now we have potentially a shift in direction. Some people would say this is a break of structure, some people would say this is a change of character. Whatever you say, I call it a shift. Like, you know, we can see it went down, pushed up, took this out. Otherwise it should have respected it and continued moving down, possibly. So this was the very first area, and I wanted to sell from this golden Fibonacci zone around here. As you can see, price never came to that area. It respected maybe another level of Fibonacci, but personally I look at this 61.80. that's very important for me, this golden zone basically. Okay, so yeah, it didn't come here. So if it didn't come down here, I expected price to just go down very aggressively, but what it did, it broke above another area. Okay, two areas, first, second. Now when price came to this daily supply zone, what we're having is another form of liquidity being formed, which is relative highs again, or some people would say this is triple top. Whatever you want to call it, call it. And as soon as that area was taken, price came down very strongly. So I was potentially thinking, okay, maybe now we are looking for a retracement to go down or a retracement to go up. So I just put my fib tool from this swing low okay, to this swing high potentially. So now we're thinking maybe we had a high, a very short higher low, another higher high, potentially for a higher low to go up to make another high. Okay, that's the idea. Obviously when price made a high here and then a high low here, this was a bit tricky. This is very aggressive buy entry. But once we had this higher high here, now we have two highs. This is a very strong confluence. So I was waiting to see what price does in this golden zone. And again, we build liquidity in the form of relative lows. Liquidity is the main factor, the main foundation of my strategy. So let's point this out on the chart. Okay, so normally what happens when price comes to the Fibonacci golden zone, people go long, and this is that. So this is the very early buyers. So I was waiting to see what price does after it takes this area out, starting to slow down in the area, given some indecisions, which is always good. And then bam, it took the area here. So anyone that went long here and they had stop loss here, they've been taken out. And at the same time is getting more sellers into these positions. So first we had this first bullish push, okay, and it took the low. So when this is one of the lows, yeah, here price took it. Now this potentially is another low and price took that. Now I marked this area, this 4-hour candle within the area, okay. So what's happening here, long story short, is price has formed support, something like this, okay. So before this was acting as support, we went up, came back again, support, and then we broke, started to act as resistance, and we broke above it. Now it's in the same area and it's acting as support. So that's another confluence, using support and resistance. You know, use so many things. Another thing that I did look at is what we have potentially here is an impulse, and usually when you have an impulse it's very aggressive like this. Now we have a correction potentially to have another impulse, and let me show you what I sent in the VIP group. So this is what I sent. So I said we have an impulse, a correction in the golden zone, and also this is also I'll show you in a bit. So once we had a correction, we had an impulse, and the target was there. This was a 1 to 9 RR, okay. We know that we're in the golden zone. Now let's add a bit of smart money concepts into it. If you put this area, what we can see is that indeed price has come into discount, and this is where people like to go long, and you know, especially like the market makers, because they're able to buy price at a discount, and also we've taken liquidity, which is very important, from these people here, and also we induced these people who are sellers, and you know, they got taken out, and some people who went who sold here, they got been taken out. So there's been liquidity taken from all form of from all directions basically, okay. Now I know that since we have this bullish candle closure within the structure after taking the lows, I'm expecting price to hold this level. It should not break this level, okay. Here, this should be like the what I call the invalidation zone. So it should never go lower than that, and that's where I put my stop loss. Now even with all of this, I'm still not in the trade. I went onto the 1 hour, okay, and look at this build up of liquidity. Again, liquidity being the main thing, and when price went down, we left this nice order block and imbalance, okay. So I haven't entered this trade. Price is ranging within this area, and you can see this area is still respected. There hasn't been no confirmations for me to buy so far. Boom, this was the first confirmation, and just underneath it we got this order block, potentially demand zone, okay. Now this is when I sent my signal. So I said buy at the 50% of this order block, stop loss just around here, okay. Why? Because we've done so many analysis on this using technicals. Price ranged there a bit and then it just broke. Now you can see that the bulls has been taking control, and also before it went up, this candle was mitigated. This bearish candle was mitigated, and before that we took some liquidity from here again. This candle took liquidity. Now this is the only candle that hasn't been mitigated, so potentially price is going to take this and then boom, shoot up. Now I always say, before you enter the trade, you need to know where you're going to get out, and this is where the 4 hours again, it plays an important role. We know that we are in an impulse correction, potentially impulse phase, and what tends to happen is when you have an impulse, you just mark the low to the high where the first impulse happened. So this push up here, okay, so this push. Now we are in a correction, and based on the many confirmations that we had, we looking for potential long opportunities to go higher up. Now where would our target be? Basically it's going to be the same size as the previous impulse, so something like this, and that's why I put my target somewhere here, okay, something like that. See, impulse, correction, coming back to support zone as well, took liquidity, golden Fibonacci zone. A lot of retail traders are trying to sell this thing. Supply on the daily time frame was not respected because price didn't just break down strongly, and also on the 1 hour there is something at play, and this was very complicated call for me to make. Why? Because we had this range, price broke above it, okay, so this is now a new higher high, okay, but as you can see price came very aggressively and it broke this area which was the low of that higher high, or even here depending where you want to call it. So now we have a break of structure, but again I always go back to, I always say, the higher the time frame, the stronger the signal. So if the 1 hour is telling me this, the 4 hour is a higher time frame than the 1 hour, and the 4 hour is telling me that we need to buy, okay, so I just follow that. I had to follow my analysis, and even though people were like heavily selling this, and if we come, we can see that price started playing around before coming to the area. And look at these two candles. Obviously now when it closed with a wick, but when it was coming it was very aggressive, and for me to hold my trade and tell the members hold, it's a big thing. But again, I had to trust the higher time frame analysis, and this area was a nice POI, a nice point of interest. I'm not buying randomly. I have these very specific zones that has multiple confluences that, and now we just wait on what price does. We're using a high probability setup. This is the best form of setups that you can see. And stop price mitigate that other block. It wicked a bit underneath it, to get smart money out. People that just put very tight stop losses. My one was just underneath the 4 hour structure, and then we started to bounce. And look the momentum when it took the area. Now it has taken liquidity from the highs, from the lows, the trend line liquidity, everything. So now price has no reason to mess around. It's just gonna go, okay? And that's what happened. We had a rocket. Obviously it can't keep going up non-stop. It needs to come correct itself, mitigate, and then boom, done, voila. And if I just fast forward everything, and indeed this was a true higher high as I expected, and indeed this was the higher low, and we perfectly got the higher low, and we got out here. And now this is, when price went here, this is the all-time high for CHF JPY. It has never been this high. Look, if you go on the monthly time frame, look, it's never been this high. Look, the highest it was here on 1979. Yeah, and that was 157. It's never come this high. Look, there's not even enough data. This was 1972. Yeah, so this is the all-time high. So I got the trade perfectly to the T. And this was the thing I was telling you guys on my Instagram story about expansion, which is impulse, correction is correction, and expansion again, which is impulse. So using the 4 hours, the 1 hour, and look, it was a beautiful. Now price starting to react from here, and it can go down maybe. I don't know if it will, but yeah, just look. If I delete everything, it looks so clean. Look, a high, a low, a high, a low. Now another high, potentially to make another low to move higher up, but you have to wait for confirmation to see if that new high low is actually a high low and it's not going to break. Okay, very simple. This setup doesn't happen often, I'll tell you that, but when it does happen, it is a miracle. It's just like, okay. There's another trade that we did in the VIP in this week, which was a buy on Euro GBP. It literally took us out, then it went up and hit take profit 1 and 2. But yeah, so we took one loss and one nice big win, ending the week in plus 8%, which is a beautiful start for January. If you want to join the VIP, you just click this link here, which says Signals Group, and then it will take you to the website. Then you look at the data, everything's here. You know, it's £100 a month or $130 if you want to pay in dollars. You can copy my exact trade, you can pass your prop firms using this. Obviously nothing is guaranteed, this is trading. You can see my reviews, past months, you know, everything is there. If I have a negative month, I say it. If I got a positive month, I say it. Every week I say it. Here was a negative, here was a positive, break even. I say everything. Everything is there. The best month was October, where we done more than 20%. Click this link, it will open Telegram, and then just join if you're happy. Yeah guys, I hope this video was useful. It was a very slow, basic things to all the way very advanced stuff, and it was raw, so that's a good thing always. So you guys, leave a like, as I said. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, comment down below some suggestions you have for future videos, and I will talk to you guys next time. Peace.